It is said that the human mind produces approximately 6,000 to 7,000 thoughts a day. But wait, how many of those thoughts are actually chosen by you? Most of them pass through your mind without you even noticing. You don't control them. You don't invite them. Yet they still affect you. And here's the interesting part. Most of these thoughts are not even necessary. A message, a glance, a moment of silence, and your mind immediately starts talking. Did something happen? Did I do something wrong? Something bad is definitely going to happen. Psychological studies show that around 90% of the thoughts people carry as anxiety never actually happen. In other words, most of the stress we experience comes from worries about a future that does not exist, or from assumptions we make about other people's feelings and treat as if they were facts. So those scenarios that keep you awake at night will most likely never happen. But your body doesn't know that. Your chest tightens, your stomach hurts, your shoulders tense up. Because for the brain, there is little difference between an imagined threat and a real one. In fact, most of us are not tired because of real events, but because of the stories our minds create. Worries about a non-existent future, assumptions about what others think, and often being harsh on ourselves. That's exactly what we're going to talk about in this video. Why do we think so much? Why does the mind constantly create scenarios? And most importantly, how can we break out of this cycle? The human brain naturally produces anxiety. There are biological reasons behind overthinking. The human brain has evolved to prioritize detecting threats. For this reason, even the smallest possibility of danger is often exaggerated. The mind continuously generates scenarios because uncertainty is perceived as a threat. Any unclear situation is interpreted as missing information by the brain, and the brain usually fills that gap with the worst-case scenario. Because for survival, it is safer to overestimate risks than to ignore them. In primitive times, overlooking even a small danger could result in death. So this response made sense for survival. However, in modern life, the threats we face are mostly not physical. They are related to relationships, work, and social environments. This defense mechanism, which evolved to protect the body from physical danger, can now be triggered by something as simple as a manager's tone or a change in someone's facial expression. Some studies show that people who react strongly to ambiguous words or unclear facial expressions are more prone to stress caused by overthinking. In other words, when faced with uncertainty, we tend to assume something bad will happen and assign much heavier meaning than what is actually there. In a well-known study conducted in the United States, participants were asked to write down their worries for 30 days. They also noted whether each worry actually came true. The results were striking. Only about 10% of their worries actually happened, while 80 to 90% were entirely imagined. Even more interestingly, most of that 10% did not turn out to be as bad as they had imagined. In other words, people amplify the worst-case scenarios in their minds and suffer inside those imagined realities. People who overthink often have recurring thought patterns. In psychology, these are called cognitive distortions. They are not abnormal. Everyone has them. But the stronger they are, the higher the stress. The first is mind reading. We interpret someone's words or facial expressions in a negative way toward ourselves. For example, assuming a manager is criticizing you just because their tone sounds cold, or thinking someone doesn't like you because they didn't say hello. However, most of the time, the other person may simply be distracted or in a hurry. The second is the habit of imagining the worst-case scenario, known in psychology as catastrophizing. We connect small events to extreme outcomes that may never happen. I made a small mistake. I might lose my job. The doctor asked for another test. I must have a serious illness. These thoughts quickly spiral out of control. The third is self-blame. When something goes wrong in relationships, we immediately blame our personality or abilities. However, other people's feelings are not always caused by our actions. The other person may simply be tired, stressed, or dealing with something we don't know about. Yet we still carry the burden as if everything is our fault. The invisible stress created by thoughts. Stress caused by overthinking is often not visible, so people don't even realize it. For example, some people hear a noise at home and think a burglar has entered, losing sleep over it. In reality, it's often just the wind or a device making noise. Or worrying that your idea was rejected just because you didn't get a quick reply to an email when the other person might simply be in a meeting. The brain.